Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to say something about Zenless Zone Zero. I am here to say something really sincere about Zenless Zone Zero. I was wrong. I was wrong about a lot. And what I'm saying that I was wrong about is the fact that these devs saved their game, because holy shit, I am in absolute disbelief at the current state of the game, the current state of Shiyu Defense, the amount of damage that the community is actively doing to the game, and the fact that while these devs have gone ahead and talked about how they're going to be doing all these great things to make the game better, to rebalance the game, you know, prevent power creep, make it a more enjoyable experience in the long run, they are saying one thing and doing absolutely something else with how they're managing this game. Because I have just taken a look at the Shiyu Defense 7 in the 1.7 patch, and I am in fucking disbelief. I am in absolute complete disbelief, and you probably will be too, because that is the HP total in Shiyu Defense, ladies and gentlemen, in 1.7. That is the HP total. And so let me go ahead and read this chart out for you, showing ZZZ's HP inflation. We're going to have on the left-hand side what ZZZ's HP was at in version 1.4. I'm using version 1.4 as the starting point for one simple reason, because that was when A, Miyabi released into the game, and that was also B, when they made their update to Ultimates, to make sure that there's one available for every single unit. And so there's been a lot of people, right, that talked about my critique of ZZZ, its HP inflation, and the devs' decisions regarding that, saying,
Oh, all you're doing is saying that Miyabi's the reason why HP inflation's in here, when actually they changed the ultimates so that you can cast 3 of them on each team.
And they completely disregarded the fact that Miyabi did about twice as much damage as pretty much every other unit in the game, and as a result, the content could not keep up. And so players complained that Shiyu was too easy. And now we're currently in the state of the game following that. Following the addition of the additional ultimates, ZZZ 1.7 is 64% higher. The HP is 64% higher than what it was in 1.4. In 3 updates, they added 11.3 million health to the Shiyu Defense 7. 11.3 million HP in 3 updates. Do you think it's so crazy now, ladies and gentlemen? Is it crazy right now for me to have said, guys, this statement that ZZZ is the new HSR? Is that so hard to believe at this current point in time? Apparently it is hard to believe it with how many people downvoted this bad boy. Apparently it is really, really, really hard to believe that with how much people downvoted the shit out of this one. If you look at it here when it comes to this post, well, ZZZ's HP inflation problem, boy, oh boy, they brigaded the shit out of this one, lads. They brigaded the shit out of this one. And then they went ahead, right? They made an entire post on the subreddit about me, calling me a tourist, because I'm just simply trying to save these idiots from themselves. And this is the thing, right? They went ahead and said, oh, this guy just doesn't know how to play the game. Oh, he's just not good.
HP inflation's not an issue. You just gotta play like a top sweaty 1% player. That's the problem. Why is this guy going ahead and saying there's all this power creep? He's such a clown. He's such a tourist.
You absolute idiots. I was right about one thing, though, when it came to ZZZ. 1.7 is disappointing, and that this, yes, the ZZZ community sabotage their devs because they're constantly putting out garbage like this, saying HP inflation doesn't exist and that it's not an issue. And they're even playing more defense, ladies and gentlemen. They're even playing more defense for the absolute disaster that you're currently seeing on my screen right now. They're even playing more defense for this. I took a look at the ZZZ discussion subreddit. Instead of talking about the fact that these devs are actively ruining the game with how they're balancing Shiyu defense, they're going ahead and saying stuff like HP inflation isn't an issue, but enemies with time-wasting attacks are. Enemies are having time-wasting attacks that are making it take more time for me to clear the content, but HP inflation, which gives the bosses more HP and makes it take more time to clear the content, isn't a problem. Sorry, I just had to quick meditation after factoring in just how absolutely stupid what they just said is. And this is the thing, you might be like,
Oh, Saint, why are you just going ahead, Saint? Saint, why are you going ahead and just bringing up dumb Reddit threads that only have 0 upvotes? Surely nobody is dumb enough in the ZZZ community to agree with this shit take.
17 people. That's 217 people that agree with that. And if you look at the ZZZ discussion subreddit as a whole, what you're going to find is it's actually the top rated post. It's the first thing you see when you enter the page of the ZZZ. It's literally the front page. Top upvoted. One of the most discussed things. And the fact that there are individuals coming into here hoping this hard.
Semi-vent skill issue post because this Shiyu was the first one to genuinely piss me off. The double Thanatos boss was tolerable because you can at least corral them into the corner and their big attack was easy to time and dodge. But getting the mech that can simply jump to the center of the screen spends half the fight jumping away.
How about this wouldn't be a problem if the mech just didn't have 64% more HP than it did 3 patches ago? Maybe if the mech didn't just take 60% more time at a baseline to kill because it has 64% more HP, this wouldn't be a problem. Right? Maybe the game would be able to incorporate its time-wasting, fun, interactive mechanics a bit more if the bosses just didn't take this fucking long to kill in the first place. And this is the thing, right? The fact that we're simply not able to identify that these are both issues that tackle the same exact point is absolutely ridiculous. Why are we just trying to hand-wave this whole HP inflation piece away and just blame something else, when it's clearly both things that are factoring into this Shiyu defense feeling like dog ass? Why is it this difficult for us to simply recognize as a community that a 64% HP inflation in 3 updates is almost criminal? It's actually almost criminal at this point. And you want to know the best part about all of this? You want to know the best part about all of this, guys? You have other games to look back on. You have other situations in Hoyoverse's very recent history that clearly indicate what the issue is. You've got me over here covering the HP inflation in Genshin Impact, where they released a character like Mavawika in 5.3, and then following that, the HP inflation goes absolutely insane because she does like twice the damage of other units in the game. And so me saying that Miyabi caused ZZZ's HP inflation when she also does twice the damage of everybody else in the game is ridiculous? This is what people are going ahead and proceeding to call me a tourist for? The fact that I know how to read a chart? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. And this is the thing. It's not just this game, guys. Y'all remember this bad boy called Honkai Star Rail? The game that basically pioneered ridiculous amounts of HP inflation and power creep, where they released Acheron right here, the unit that in HSR dealt twice the damage of everybody else, and then proceeded to cause massive amounts of HP inflation in the game because she made it too easy? Yeah, I remember that one, guys. I remember that one, guys. And guess what? The game is pretty much unplayable now. It is pretty much 1,000,000% completely, absolutely unplayable as a result of this. And guess what, guys? I'm kind of at a loss at this point. I'm kind of just at a loss at this point. The fact that we have gone up 64% in 3 patches. It almost doesn't seem real. It legitimately almost doesn't seem real. I almost can't believe my eyes that people aren't able to put 2 and 2 together to make 4, because we're simply at the point where Miyabi has been introduced over here, and now HP is inflating like fucking crazy to extents we have never seen since this game's release. And you're saying it's actively not a problem. You're blaming only the time-wasting mechanics for the Shiyu defense not feeling good. How about you blame the fact that enemies have 64% more HP than they did 3 versions ago. And you want to know what I actually think is going on? ZZZ's community is 1,000,000% sabotaging its developers. But this is the other thing. I'm beginning to think these devs kind of just lied. I'm actually beginning to think that these devs kind of just lied. I think that one thing that they teased a lot, right, was this whole, like, Yi Xuan character. They said that she's supposed to be a Void Hunter level, a Void Hunter strength level character. I feel like she's going to be mandatory to start clearing this content. I feel like you're going to need Yi Xuan on one side, Void Hunter level strength, and then Miyabi on the other with her Void Hunter level strength, to start being able to clear this content, just to pull 3 stars. They don't even want to classify her as a Void Hunter. They just want to say she's a special class that's as strong as one. And boy, oh boy, I'm gonna be real with you, ladies and gentlemen. I think that this game is going down the drain. I think that this game, despite the fact that these devs have been actively promising so many things, that these devs have been actively saying that they're gonna make the game better, that they're gonna make all these updates, make all these changes, and they're just going ahead and repeating the same exact things that have killed HSR. The same exact things, right, that have killed HSR. And then the same things that are currently killing Genshin Impact. What is going on? What is actually going on? I think that my headcanon at this point, that I think has been slowly getting proven with every single update across these Hoyoverse games, is that Hoyoverse is now simply making the endgame of HSR, ZZZ, and Genshin Impact. The endgame of these games is becoming pay to play. This is a big point that I drive. The endgame is becoming pay to play, where if you don't have all the newest units, you don't have all of the newest supports that can, like, buff those newest units, you're not going to be able to clear. And it's happening here, it happened in Genshin, and it also happened in HSR. These games are slowly and surely just turning into story games. That's it. They're turning into free-to-play games if you want to play the story. And if you want to play the endgame, you better get ready to bust open the wallet, because you're going to need every new unit on the roster. And you want to know the worst part about all of this stuff? Is that ZZZ is going to have all of this elemental weakness stuff, right? Hey, you can't use your Miyabi, bucko, because we're actually going to have ice resistance and a crazy amount of fucking HP inflation. To the point where even Miyabi isn't going to be able to clear. You're only going to be able to use Miyabi on the Ice Weak side. And then you're going to have the Ether Void Hunter for the Ether side. And then the Physical Void Hunter for the Physical side. And then the Electric Void Hunter for the Electric side. And if you don't have them, bye-bye 5-minute clear. Bye-bye S tier clear. And people are just going to keep telling you,
Oh, if you can't clear, you're just a tourist. I spent about 12 hours yesterday on just one side of my Shiyu Defense, and I was actually able to clear it with some of the 1.0 characters. By the way, just so you know, bucko. And so you just gotta play more. You just gotta play like me.
remember when I said pay to play for the endgame? I also meant pay to play with your fucking time, where more and more of these individuals are bragging about the fact that they're playing these gacha games, these casual gacha games, as a fucking job. They're, like, bragging about how long they're spending for, like, their 1 out of 100 clear. Like, people are bragging about how they cleared this Genshin Spiral Abyss with 4-star units. You know how long those guys took? Do you know how amazing their artifacts, echoes, disk drives are? They're grinding for, like, months, years, for those units that are able to get those clears, and they're saying,
Well, I did it. Well, look at this YouTube video of this guy that cleared with 4 stars. Surely HP inflation can't be that bad.
and that's all they're gonna spam. That's all they're gonna say as HP doubles in Genshin from 4.4 to 5.5. That's all they're gonna say as ZZZ has 64% HP inflation from 1.4 when the 3 ultimates were introduced to now. And they'll say the same exact thing in both of those games, right? They already said the same exact thing in both of those games that they said in Honkai Star Rail when Acheron released.
Oh, the HP inflation's not that bad, guys. Oh, you just gotta grind more. I'm still clearing with my Dan Hung. I'm still clearing with my regular my 4-star Dan Hung, so it's fine. I only reset like 400 times.
It's rough. It's really, really really rough at this point to be a Hoyoverse player that enjoys the endgame. I think that Hoyoverse is essentially banking on the fact that people that are mainly playing their games for endgame maybe don't care about the story that much, and they're recognizing if endgame's the only reason why they're playing, we got to extract some money out of them somehow, right? By making these units mandatory to clear. And if they're not going to pull for those units, we shouldn't let them play the endgame. And if they quit, fuck it. They didn't care about the story anyways. It's fine if they do. We'll just make sure that every player that does care about the endgame has to spend, and has to spend a lot if they want to keep playing it. They did that in HSR. They're doing it in Genshin. And I'm telling you all, I think it's just going to happen exactly the same in Zenless Zone 02. Because 1 time is a coincidence. 2 times is a pattern. And if you don't think it's going to happen a 3rd time, despite every single sign and every single data point when it comes to this game telling you that it's going to happen, and you are still trying to convince yourself that it doesn't matter, what can we say at this point, ladies and gentlemen? This community might be absolutely 1,000,000% astoundingly cooked. But this is the thing, right? There are still some voices of reason out there, even in this subreddit. Some people are saying, and giving open critiques about the game, right? They're saying, I really don't like Chapter 1.7. They're making big critiques about the story. They're understanding that ZZZ at this point really looks like there's a lack of budget going into its development. And what I'm imagining, right, is that ZZZ, maybe they're prepping for 2.0. Maybe they're putting a lot more effort into that update moving forward, and that's what's going to actually lead to, like, great things in the long run for the game. But I don't think this stuff is going to stop, right? I do think that this is something that the community needs to start rallying around right now if they actually want this game to be playable. Or you're just going to have to accept the fact that modes like Shiyu Defense might as well not exist if you're not pulling on every new character and every new broken kit and every new interaction that raises the damage ceiling more and more and more and more in the long run. Because holy crap, guys. You could pretend it didn't exist, maybe in 1.5, but when you got into 1.6's first half, and then the second half, and now 1.7 over here, where it's more than double what the HP inflation was in 1.5, what are we doing here, man? What are we still doing here, man? Defending this shit. What are we still doing here making posts like this, trying to mitigate the HP inflation issue? We're out here talking about actual concerns that are actively killing this game. And all you guys want to do is just pretend it's not happening. Because you want to say skill issue. Because you feel this desire to be recognized for how much you play this game, not knowing you're in a group that maybe consists of like 1 to 5% of the player base, when 95% plus are casuals. And when your endgame is this unaccessible and becomes blindingly, astoundingly, effortlessly easy when you start pulling the newest characters and leveraging all the broken kits, just like this game, where you pull a Casterus and then press auto and you start clearing MOCs that your E2 Acheron can't. Or in this game, right, Genshin Impact, where you have people like a Joko defending it, where you just pull Mavuika, Silali, and Jalonin, and then literally perform a seizure on your keyboard and just clear the content. What's going on here, guys? And this is the thing. CCs defend this, man. CCs want this to happen. Because they have all this super difficult content that they get to make their own content around, and they won't say anything negative about this sort of stuff. And all this does is it prevents new people from coming to this game. Because all they're gonna hear is, this shit's not balanced. What's the point of pulling these units when they're gonna be useless in a year? Half a year. Acheron's already useless. And she's the one that caused all of Honkai Star Rail's problems in the first place. She's the one that caused all these problems in the first place. And now it's gotten to the point where even she's not good. And I'm not gonna lie. All of this at the end of the day is just a little bit sickening. It's a little bit disappointing that this is where we've gone as a player base to just openly deny all of the stuff that's going on We don't see the forest for the trees. You guys are the frogs in slowly boiling water. You are all the individuals in the ZZZ community who will slowly watch this game die. Your friends quit the game. The subreddits start having less posts. It's all going to just start dissolving away like it did for Honkai Star Rail. And honestly, after my experience with the community, I think it might be deserved. Because when you had somebody trying to warn you, when you had somebody trying to tell you exactly what was wrong with the game, exactly why ZZZ was becoming the new HSR, you just had to wait until it actually happened to start noticing. And this was a month ago. Look how far we've come in a month. Look how far we have come in a month. And so I was wrong about ZZZ. Wrong about the good parts about the game. And I was also right about all the dog shit that was happening behind the scenes. So with that, let me know what you all think. Peace.